Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. World Cup season is just around the corner, but before we get there, we have a batch of international friendlies to get done and dusted before the main event in Russia. When we look at the main contenders, Spain hits the nail on the coffin. They look to be the favorites this season, but who's going to play? Who's going to start? Who will be left out? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Don't worry, here at the interviews, we've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to briefly break down what's right and wrong with the Spanish national team. So when you assess Spain in the World Cup in 2014, they obviously crashed out very early, not what we expected from the defending champions at the time. This looks like a chance at redemption. Would they be able to do it? A change of the new guard, some younger players, a bit of the old guard still there like Andres Iniesta, David Silva. Would they be able to lead this side to the promised land once again? We know Silva didn't play, but Iniesta was pivotal to that run, scored the winning goal in the final. We look at their friendlies. Obviously, they won against Argentina, thrashed them. They tied against Germany, but looked pretty convincing. And a lot of people are labeling them as the favorites to win the World Cup this summer. Can they do it? Will they not? Based off this evidence, they look like they are the real deal. They did play practically their first team, and they do look like they have pretty much their starting XI cemented. It's just a few positions that could be ironed out, and they were missing Sergio Busquets, who will slot into the midfield zone. But for Spain, with all the good that comes from it, there were a few weaknesses heading into these matches, and when we look at it, there were some weaknesses that were exploited. We look at the board, we got Spain in the red. The first game they played, both of the games, it was pretty much more of a 4-1, 4-1, 4-3-3. Up front in the first game, it was Rodrigo. Ahead of him, you had Iniesta, you had Silva, you had Isco, you had Koke, and you had Thiago. That's a good German side that likes to keep possession, that likes to press. It was going to be a very good game to the previous World Cup champions. What Spain did very early was that they pressed very high. They closed down the spaces. They ensured that nothing was being played through the park. They swarmed Germany. Germany were blitzed for the opening 20 minutes or so before they kind of coped into the game and settled. And when they weren't pressing, they looked pretty organized, sitting deeper, controlling the center of the pitch, but that was key. Germany tried to press them too from the front, and they didn't have any issues. Spain really coped with it well, and it's because these men came in: Isco, Silva, Iniesta, Thiago, Koke. You have 5 ball-playing midfielders practically against these two. Ozil, for the greatness that he does possess in central areas, doesn't command much without the ball and suffered in this zone. If Busquets was there, he'd probably be man marking him. We'll get to that later on. You had Muller kind of tucking in there. You had Draxler. But these aren't ball-playing midfielders. They do press. They do work hard. But when you have 5 intelligent players like this in this deep zone, Spain were basically passing the ball around them, getting the ball around them, working their way up the field slowly and methodically. And that was key to what Spain were doing. You look at the goal. Again, it comes from a simple throw-in. Iniesta with a great ball into Rodrigo, who runs off, finishes superbly, having a great season. And Spain are really doing well. You look at the players that are in that zone. Isco likes to come in. Silva likes to come in. Like to combine in wide areas. It allows the fullbacks to get forward in that regard to add width. You had Alba and Carvajal, who look to be set in stone at the fullback position, being able to get forward. The 1-2s, everything that you can ask for. You have Rodrigo working hard, who looks like he could possibly sneak in a start. And we'll get to that later on. But what Rodrigo does well, great with his back to goal, can run the channels, can run it behind, could drop deep and link play. He offers everything. And he, like you could see in that one chance, he doesn't need many to score. That's very key. But where Spain did encounter issues, whereas the game wore on, they were obviously dominating the center of the pitch. Khedira and Cruz didn't know how to cope. But as the game wore on, obviously, Germany couldn't press forever. They dropped a bit deeper, and that kind of helped them in that respect because they were more narrow, less space for Spain to really find and unlock cogs because there weren't players jumping out to press, and that was very key. But where Germany really harmed them in this game was the fact that the fullbacks were getting forward. Werner, exceptional, running into space behind Carvajal. On several occasions, he darted in there. He dispossessed Carvajal once, delivered delivered a great cross into the box that no one attacked, drove down that flank on several occasions, wasn't scared to do it. That was pivotal. He also switched to the right side. There was one time in the second half where he drove past Koke, got into that area again, played a through ball into the box, no one attacks it. He also had a chance where he ran in behind one of the center backs. I think it was Nacho who came on, free on goal, should score, doesn't, but his movement was superb. He looks like he could make an appearance in that German starting 11 at some point in the World Cup as the starting center forward. Who knows? But off that performance, it wasn't that bad. And again, that was a key issue. And the counterattacks, there were times where Ozil was getting balls between the lines, behind the midfield. There were times where Julian Draxler on the counterattack received balls between the lines. And it became a very open game, a very entertaining game, but very open after Spain scored and took the lead, maybe after the half-hour mark. So if Spain went one way, the other way, Germany would be able to counterattack if they, because they didn't concede and because so many players were left forward. It felt like it was only Thiago who was up there. And you got the fullbacks going forward as well, which was key. And that was pivotal because Germany had counterattacks, they had chances to score. They obviously, it was a Muller screamer that really changed the game, but that's where they were harmed, and that was a big issue. In the second game against Argentina, no Messi, no Aguero, no Dybala. Obviously, Argentina looking to find the final pieces to that jigsaw puzzle that will be looking to win the World Cup and avenge their loss from 2014 in the final against Germany. This Spain side, a bit different. We'll get them set up for you right here. Diego Costa started up front. Asensio offered the width. Isco was playing as well in midfield this time around. Thiago was there. Koke was there. Iniesta was there. No real change in that regard. And what issues arise there was the fact that, again, harmed on the counterattack. And it just goes to show that, again, even if it wasn't the same kind of setup or the same personnel, they have that issue. And it goes to show, can you trust Thiago in midfield? Even if you have Koke with him, can they be trusted in that center role? Who's going to play that center role with Busquets? Who's going to play ahead of him? Because it was pivotal and they didn't cope with the pressing. They were sloppy in possession during certain aspects of the game. Asensio giving away the ball, Isco being dispossessed. That was pivotal in the starting half, but they did score goals. Costa got his goal. They did press well. That led to the first goal. The second goal, they hit them on the break, but there were times when Meza was breaking in behind. You saw that golden opportunity that they had, where just a simple run in beyond the space when Carvajal pushed forward. Meza breaks into the box, presents a great chance for Higuain to score, shoots it over the net. Glorious opportunity. We look at another opportunity where a Spanish player is dispossessed. Then we see the 1-2 between Banega, who played just in behind Higuain, and Meza should get into the box. Last-ditch tackle saves the day. That was very pivotal as well. And then we look at the other opportunity for them. It's Lo Celso breaking forward, and this was the big worry. Lo Celso just driving forward, runs past Thiago. Thiago's jogging with him. Should score, pokes a tame effort on goal. And then there was another opportunity where it's Metza again in a deeper position, just spinning off him, breaking into the box, and a last-ditch tackle from a defender pokes it out for a corner. But Spain did go on to beat this weakened Argentina side. Probably none of these players, barring Higuain, maybe Banega, and a few others, will have a chance of being in that starting 11 for Argentina. But with Spain, you look at the options up front, they look good going forward. But in defense, the way that they are set up, the fullbacks get forward, the midfield is able to play at will. They look good without the ball in most situations when they sit back a bit deeper. But there is space in these channels, in between the lines, that could be penetrated. You think that when Sergio Busquets comes in, that's obviously pivotal, but who plays in midfield with him? Iniesta looks like he's going to start. He played an important part in both goals, but can he play at this level and have a significant impact throughout the game? But who gets the other spot? Is it Koke, who also has that grit that could probably drop a bit deeper? Will Thiago even be fit? Can he offer something a bit higher up the pitch and be clinical or pose a threat in the final third? What about Saul, who is a bit younger but offers that strength? There is a bit of a worry that this Spain midfield can be overrun and bullied in midfield, and that's very key. And then up front, who plays there? Rodrigo looked good. Costa got hurt, but doesn't really look like he fits the mold of a Spanish striker to have an impact around the box. And what about Alvaro Morata? Does he still play a part? Iago Aspas obviously scored later on in the game, but does he have a legitimate shot of starting up front? So many questions to ask, so little time. Obviously, the big areas in midfield, they look like they can get overrun in that position. And do they have the tempo to, do they have the people in midfield to dictate the tempo of the game, to offer that sense of control that they had with Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets and Xavi Alonso in the past to ensure that that defense doesn't get breached? Let me know what you guys think. Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.